Hello everyone, in this video I will show you some best games for low spec PC, but before we start this video make sure you subscribe to your channel Games Down and hit the bell icon for more gaming video. First up we have Untitled Goose game. Aside from generating some of the best Goose related memes to date, Untitled Goose game manages to deliver a humorous albeit simplified stealth experience centered on one unruly fowl. In it, you control a maniacal goose tasked with wreaking havoc throughout a series of sandbox environments, frequently at the displeasure of any nearby humans. Sandboxes are densely packed with various items that can be combined in interesting ways to complete bonus objectives. The game has a charmingly minimalistic presentation that's complemented by a playful soundtrack and writing. It's a lot shorter than many of the entries on this list, but still sure to keep you entertained for at least an hour or two. Next up we have Thimbleweed Park. Thimbleweed Park is a point-and-click adventure game inspired by classics like Maniac Mansion. The game tasks you with investigating a murder in a small town from the perspective of FBI agents Ray and Reyes. Things expand as several persons of interest are revealed and become playable, allowing the player to gain further insight on each character's personality and ulterior motives. The game's vibrant 2D pixel art presentation means it can run on just about any PC or laptop with no issues whatsoever. While we won't spoil the story, rest assured there are plenty of unexpected twists and turns along with some clever writing reminiscent of detective shows like Twin Peaks. Number 3 we have Slay the Spire. Slay the Spire is a roguelike card strategy game developed by American studio Mega Crit and published by Humble Bundle. At the beginning of each playthrough, the game sees players selecting one of the 3 predetermined characters, each with their own starting conditions that affect the amount of health, gold, and cards players begin with. The goal of the game is to make your way through several levels of a spire, each with their own number of potential encounters determined by a branching path that culminates in a boss battle. During each run, you'll come across campfires that allow you to heal or upgrade cards, shopkeepers that offer cards you can buy, chests with random loot, and random choice-based encounters. Next game of this video is Kerbal Space Program. Kerbal Space Program is a spaceflight sim in which players can create and pilot a variety of aircrafts, rockets, rovers, and more with help from green aliens known as Kerbals. While the game takes on a more comedic tone, it features a surprisingly realistic physics engine capable of replicating real-life orbital maneuvers performed by NASA pilots. The most charming aspect of the game has to be the Kerbals themselves, who are prone to getting into dangerous situations and seem to lack any common sense despite having the ability to craft complex spaceships. It's not as structured or linear as many of the other entries on this list, with many of the goals left up to the player to determine. However, there are assigned contracts for completing milestones such as reaching a certain altitude or landing on different planets. Next up we have A Medieval. A Medieval is a first-person shooter inspired by classics like Unreal, Doom, Quake, and Heretic, with it being considered a spiritual successor to the latter. Set in the ancient past, the game sees players taking on the role of the champion, a skilled warrior who's been bestowed with a holy battle axe. After a mysterious and powerful force begins destroying lands within different realms, the champion is called upon to enter an interdimensional gateway and defeat the evil force's minions. A Medieval offers fast-paced first-person action and the ability to kill enemies with a variety of weaponry including axes, swords, and magical staffs. Next up we have My Friend Pedro. My Friend Pedro is based on a 2014 Adobe Flash game of the same name and maintains many of the original's mechanics and controls. The game is a shoot-'em-up in which players traverse uniquely themed levels, killing enemies in real time while also being able to enter a slowed-down version of reality. A large chunk of MFP's appeal stems from its Hollywood-esque action sequences that see players chaining together flashy kills using pistols and shotguns as well as environmental objects such as a skateboard, barrels, and cooking pans. The game awards points based on each shot landed, multiplied by the number of kills achieved, and gives players a ranking at the end of every level. Next up we have Minecraft. By now, most will recognize the staple Minecraft formula: you break blocks for resources and use them to construct tools, weapons, decorative items, you name it. A bulk of the game's popularity stems from its minimal hardware requirements, allowing the game to be played on just about any laptop or PC. The survival sandbox's appeal is made even better by messing around with Minecraft PC mods which can drastically alter the experience visually and gameplay-wise. Flexible in-game goals, a relaxing soundtrack, and addictive gameplay make it one of the best experiences tailored for low-spec PCs. Next up we have Night in the Woods. Night in the Woods is an adventure game that emphasizes its narrative over gameplay while still finding ways to keep players engaged. You play as a young woman named May who finds herself struggling to adapt to college life and decides to return to her small hometown called Possum Springs. While on the surface things seem to have stayed the same, May begins to suspect something sinister is going on within the confines of her humble hometown when kids begin disappearing. The game does a wonderful job of exploring themes like mental illness and the struggle of middle and lower classes in America. Next up we have Celeste. Most 2D platformers tend to place an emphasis on gameplay over story, however, in the case of Celeste, you'll find both components have been carefully thought out. The game has you assuming control of Madeline, a girl looking to escape the struggles of everyday life by climbing a mysterious mountain. You progress through the game by completing difficult platforming levels that require precise jumping and dashing. Celeste features a number of collectibles to find for an extra layer of challenge in addition to an assist mode for players who are more interested in the game's story. Next up we have Opus Magnum. Opus Magnum is a puzzle-based programming game that has you taking on the role of alchemist to create potions, poisons, and more by manipulating the atoms of elements using a transmutation engine. Each challenge provides you with a number of components like programmable arms, customizable tracks, etc. that can be combined and structured to complete certain tasks. The game starts off fairly simple, assigning you to make basic concoctions that require less complex solutions. However, things begin to ramp up as items like precious gemstones and deadly weapons are introduced, requiring you to make more intricate designs using multiple chains of mechanisms. The last game of this video is Cosmic Express. Cosmic Express is a cute yet challenging puzzle game centered on creating train routes for a space colony. Each level tasks you with safely guiding passenger trains through hazardous environments filled with numerous obstacles while meeting certain conditions for different passengers. While it may appear simple at first glance, meeting the increasingly demanding passenger requirements while making sure to avoid obstacles can require a lot of planning. Luckily, maps are designed to have multiple solutions and encourage experimentation. So that's it guys, thanks for watching this video. Subscribe to your channel Games Down and press the bell icon for more gaming videos.